Welcome to Bytes of Light with Angel and Seth Rohr. Our mission is to bring bite-sized nuggets of information to be digested as you please. Take a quick bite or stay for the whole party. Pleasure being the main component of our mission, we will also bring other humans into our space to share their magical brew with us all. Love, service, and wisdom is what we are bringing to the table. Join us in our magical kitchen, where what is being served is for your highest good. Oh my goodness, do we have some excitement today? I've got my lovely soul sister here with us today, Stephanie Urbina Jones. Welcome.
Welcome. Hola, hola. I'm so excited to be here with you all.
Yes. So we're going to spend some time reminiscing and catching everybody up on our journey and how our dream weavers have come together. So in previous episodes, you've heard about me traveling to the gathering of the shamans. And in my Love Warriors book, part of my first chapter is about getting there and the traumas and tribulations that I had to go through to actually get to that event. That event is actually where I met Stephanie. So let's hear your side.
Well, you know, it was really just kind of a magical thing. We got an invitation. The Gathering of Shamans was just beginning, and we got the call to come and be there and to support in any way that we could. And being a soul singer and carrying medicine songs from around the medicine wheel and in sweat lodges and vision quests and all kinds of ceremonies, I found myself that one night, that one magical night out under the stars, walking around a lake, and somehow, some way started singing a song and ran into you.
Yeah.
And definitely magic happened.
Yeah, it was incredible. That's the first time that night that you're speaking about. I think it was actually a full moon as well. That was the first time I've ever firewalked. So we have this huge, amazing ceremony together, which you helped facilitate. And then we walked over to that lake, and I don't know how it happened, but I ended up standing beside you. And this great big healing, like we had 200 people surrounding this little lake, sending and doing ceremony, sending love and energy into the world. And everybody left, and we just stood there, and you started playing.
I played this song. And you know, it's funny, Miguel has been my teacher. I was a dreamer. I read his books, and I was studying as an apprentice under his apprentice, and then was invited because of my music to come and to present along with my teacher, Miguel, which was amazing. But I have to say, of all the moments of the Gathering of Shamans, it was this holy moment with you and the people. I felt like we were dancing with creation. You know, all of our ancestors were coming, and we were singing our prayers into the night and really connecting, you know, and I believe a lifetime sisterhood was born in that moment with you. And so this is that song. Let me see if I can open your heart to it.
Let's do it.
I don't know who wrote this song. All I know is that it's one of my all-time favorites. And because, as we all know, we're dreaming all the time. Spiraling into the center of the wheel. We are spiraling into the center of the wheel. I am the weaver, I am the woven one, I am the dreamer, I am the dream, I am the weaver, I am the woven one, I am the dreamer, I am the dream. Spiraling into the center of the wheel. We are spiraling into the center of the wheel. I am the weaver, I am the woven one, I am the dreamer, I am the dream, I am the weaver, I am the woven one, I am the dreamer, I am the dream. I hope.
Oh, it takes me right back. It takes me
Oh.
right back. It's hard to not bawl my face off every time I hear you sing.
Well, and I have to share with everyone a bite of light that you gave me that night was that, I was just beginning to step in as a teacher, as a leader in this world. I had had a career in another arena as a country singer, but that night and the connection that we made, you gave me my first medicine tool that night at the gathering of shamans that you had made this beautiful, beautiful fan that I have used in hundreds of ceremonies now. It has touched so many people. So thank you for being a part of my life and singing to my soul.
Oh,
So beautiful.
it's so beautiful. And there's magic when people can meet each other on that vibration and go into that space of just pure unconditional love. Right. And for me too, that night around the lake, yes, the fire walk was amazing. Um, it is a mind expanding experience, but singing around that lake, it, people need to understand that where we're out in the middle of the desert in Arizona. There, it's pitch black, and we're in this tiny little area around this beautiful lake with this huge willow tree, and you have your drum over top of my heart, and I just I was out of my body. I felt like I was, you scruff a cat from behind, and I literally was hanging over the lake, and then it just went over and then I was just in the cosmos. Like, you just shot me right up into the stars. And I have never, you're not going to believe this. OneDrive just showed me a picture of you and me sitting in the what?
Reels?
Well, the notifications aren't turned off on the computer, we just found out. But also, it just popped a picture of the two of you.
In front of the pyramid of the sun in Teo. I cannot make this shit up.
Not. We are not alone.
Wow. Okay, so that just happened. Anyways, yeah, that was the very first time that I've experienced that. Right. And so I was just blown wide open. And when I got home from that experience, also too, this is the very first time ever that I have traveled alone since the experience that I talk about in the Love Warriors book. And so the whole weekend was huge and amazing and expanding for me. But when I got home, I didn't know how to process it because it was so something that, we talk about the brain elasticity, about what you can comprehend and what you can't. And sometimes when you do these big, long journeys, sometimes it takes years for the medicine to sink in because your brain has to catch up to what you've experienced. And one of the teachers that I had previously was a Lakota elder that I did a lot of sweat lodges with. And so I actually reached out to her a couple of weeks later and said, I can't function. And she said one sentence to me. She's like, well, have you called your spirit back to your body? And I was like, that's a thing? You're supposed to do that? Like, I had no idea. Like, I was a baby, a brand newbie. Like, I had no idea. And so when she said that, because I was describing her the fire and how the coals danced, when we were doing the fire walk, and then told her about the lake, and she's like, you've left part of your soul there. You need to recover that. And so, yeah, I went into meditation that night and, did the recapitulation and called some of my soul fragments back, and boom, the next day I was back to my normal self. So it went to that extreme that and then I was hooked, and then I'm like, okay, there's medicine here, there's stuff here. And that was my commitment to the Toltec path and the searching. And the very last day we were there, when I gifted you the fan, because I did see you, that was one of my gifts in coaching gymnastics for 30 years. I could find the, you know, I could find the unicorns. That was one of my gifts.
Mhm.
And, you know, you were the first unicorn I found in this community, right? And I didn't know who you were, right? You just had this beautiful voice that I had to follow, period. So thank you. I actually feel like that was my initiation into shamanism that weekend and that
Well,
experience with you around the lake.
I love that you're sharing that. You know, our publisher, because you're both are lead authors of an upcoming book, and you're writing on books. And our publisher, Laura DeFranco, always says, you know, who are those people along the way that we're writing that love letter to, that kind of pulls us up out of our purpose-driven fear, as she'll say, because I've tried to run from this path
You have.
so much, so much, you know, and you know that is for me, you gifting me that fan was kind of like a stand down moment, you know, and it's lived with me forever when you saw something in me. And I was actually already living it. I was doing it, but I wasn't committed to it. You know, I
Right,
wasn't taking responsibility
right.
of it. And I think that really was the beginning. And, you know, soon after my pathway, just like uh, through my pain, through heartbreaking, harrowing experiences, just broke my heart and my life open. And I had a choice. Of course, I could have gone another way, but my choice was to move forward and to be, oh, it is. It's like what it forged by the fire. Forged by the fire. I think I need to name my next chapter that.
There you go. That's awesome. I love it.
Right?
Well, it seems to be like I hear that story all the time where people are like, man, I was doing this work for years. I was in it.
Mhm.
And you do ceremonies and you go to this event, you go to that event, but it's those little moments where when you're not in your mind about a thing is when those big crack opens happen. You know, for me, I was in Teo and we've done all the ceremony, we've done all the process through the grounds of Teo, and it was sitting in circle with the Aztec dancers that it just I don't know what happened, but what they were doing hit me on a level that just cracked me open, and it's like we weren't there to do the work. We were there to just enjoy it. They just brought them in as like, hey, come enjoy this cool thing. But that's what cracked me open. Just like, you know, for Angel, like that is that moment around the lake. The ceremony was all over.
It was just her and I.
And yet that
Yeah.
was the moment when like that's the magic happens in those little moments. All the work is really just to prepare us to accept it when it happens. And so many people get frustrated, like, oh, I've been doing this work and I still don't feel free. I don't feel that unconditional love. It's like just keep taking those steps because the magic is going to happen when you least expect it. But you have to be committed to the process.
So true. I love that. I love that you sharing that story about, you know, the Aztec dancers. I too, you know, um, Angel asked, and the preface to the Gathering of Shamans, the preface to me becoming a Toltec dreamer and teacher was too going to the my life was a mess. I was in the middle of a divorce, and I reluctantly but surrendered to I had to do something. Gasping for air, went with Lee McCormick, who y'all traveled with,
Love.
to, yeah, to Teo, and just, you know, fell apart, disassembled all the way down the Avenue of the Dead, and was just what I needed for my powerful, powerful mind that had protected me all my life with all of my ways, control, all the things that I had created, you know, come by honestly to keep safe, were just, you know, they were no match for Teo and those sacred energies there. And it was on the top of the Pyramid of the Sun that I was given that clear vision, like of what was mine to do with my life. And then I ran from it, you know, in all ways. And, but over time, you can't, That's the cool thing I love about all the work that we do is that you do, we do, is that the mind will forget or it will, put things in a closet and won't remember, but the body remembers everything. When
Absolutely.
you put it in these situations, whatever was ready to come up, here we go.
That's right. This journey is definitely not for the faint of heart, but let me tell you how worth it is.
Yeah.
It's for the brave of hearts.
It's for the brave of heart. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and it was very cool for me. So at the end of that retreat, you had told me about that you were going and taking a group to Teo. And I had a full yes. Again, I'd never been there. Gathering the shamans was my first experience, and I was all in because I knew that we could meet each other in that space. And that's rare to be able to go that deep with somebody so quickly and hold that energy. So yeah, I was a full yes. And to watch and witness and to be able to hold, because you had another huge level up that trip as well. And that's what I think people need to understand too. Just because we're facilitating does not mean that we're not learning as well. There is this reciprocal thing, this dance that happens,
Always.
right? And part of that learning for me was make sure that you're working with teachers who understand gratitude and respect both ways,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
And
sure.
so I knew going with you that that was going to happen, and we had some magic that happened there as well.
It was so, so, so powerful. And I really appreciate you saying that because I think it's more important than ever to be I'm a leader, I'm a teacher, I'm a student right here in this moment with you and every day. I really appreciate being able to hold that mutuality of respect. And in any given moment, I am being, led from my heart to share medicine, words, energy, thoughts, and at the same time be open and aware of everybody's wisdom and medicine that they have to share. And that to me is what makes it really juicy. You
Right?
know, this whole
That's where the magic is.
hierarchy thing, it's like, that it doesn't speak to me,
Mhm.
you know?
And it doesn't serve humanity,
Right.
right? Yeah.
So,
Getting from
so
here is where it's at,
yeah.
and that was one of the things I loved about Teo. And I didn't have any other experience. So I came in with fresh eyes going, wow, this is amazing. And I don't know the rules. I'm a newbie, and you were just so open, and you guys facilitated some incredible experiences again that I will never forget. And it came through your voice. You have this unique, we all have our own unique ray of light. Yours is so sparkly, and like I said, it makes me cry every time you sing. And in one of our ceremonies, you guys did a sound bath, and again, that was one of the most powerful experiences for me, actually, to date. That the rain shower thing, I'm not going to go into it, but very powerful. And again, it was through your voice.
Oh, that really touches me because, again, it's not something that I've even appreciated. I just had it. And so I feel like there is a gift coming from you at this moment for me to hear, to honor it, to appreciate it, um, and frankly, to share it even more freely, you know? So, and I remember that ceremony, words and touch and being held in these specific ceremonies can help recover sacred for me. The fact that I did not have a good relationship or even much of a relationship at all with my mother, I've had this desperate longing to be seen, to be heard, to be held, to be wanted. And so I've carried that heartbreak and that heartache everywhere. And it's been in these ceremonies where I have experienced the love of a mother through other people's, kindness and compassion. And I have integrated that in. And now truly do enjoy being, holding that sacred mother energy in moments like that. So, thank you. You have done that for me as well.
Well, that's I think what was most one of the most healing parts about that trip for me is you did allow me to also share my love with you. I can remember, and one of my also favorite memories is, at night when we're all chilling out and the bonfire's going and you're walking around with your drums singing your heart out, and I'm just sitting there bawling, listening. Like, it was just so awesome. And then, I did share that, I do medicine with the drum and healing the chakras, and you said, hey, let's do it. And it was just so organic and flowy, and yeah, let's do it. And you had your own experience in that moment when I wrapped you in my cape.
I was shazammed. I remember because there, I hadn't had that much experience, at that point. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd had some, but not that. I hadn't had that kind of experience. And I remember going to Jeremy like, oh my God, that really worked. It was amazing. Yeah.
And just to be able to have that sharing space, I think people heal even on a deeper level when they allow that kind of. And I think this is the era that we're moving into, the collaboration space where gone are the days of the guru that is untouchable, that you can't even talk to or see or whatever.
Whew, that's a good title. I hope you write that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been in a couple of my social media posts lately. I'm kind of on a roll with that, but yeah, gone are the days.
Yeah.
We're stepping into new space and finding the people that can dance that agile dance with us and show up with love and gratitude and respect for each other.
Do you feel like, I think this is so cool because I know that y'all have had I know you've traveled with Lee, I know you've traveled with Jorge,
Yeah.
and I feel like I got such a huge piece of medicine traveling with Jorge, who is this like dude. I mean, what a
Yeah.
carrying
He's just a
so much
love bomb.
medicine. I
He's just
mean,
all full of love.
and wisdom. And so I do feel like Jeremy and I like we are like I've always been a young old spirit, but I'm really inhabiting my younger self since Peru, since being with him. And he really does carry that energy that we're talking about. There's a lot of mutuality
Yes.
and joy,
Yeah.
what we've, for me, what I've been longing for,
Yes.
so.
We get the other thing that happens when you start doing this work is that we have this tendency to take it so seriously. I gotta be serious, and I gotta dig down into my shit, and I gotta walk in the darkness and root up every last little thing of misery. And sometimes we get stuck there, and we forget that the reason that we're walking through the shit and facing the darkness is so that we can get it out of the way to really allow that light to shine from us and to us. So it's about increasing the joy and love in your life. It's not about getting so deep in your shit that you can't see the sunlight. It's just
Aho!
and that's when you spend time with somebody like Jorge, it reminds you that it's about joy. It's about light. The Andean medicine is about light. Let the light come in, and the light will shine, and the shadows retreat. That's the saying, you can't shovel the darkness out, but if you shine the light, it disappears. So we can look into that darkness, but don't forget that the purpose is the light and joy, to make it more fun, to bring more light in. And awareness of the darkness just helps you know where to shine that light to.
I love it. I love all these ways of explaining what we have, each of us have experienced. And
Yeah.
for me, I mean, I was so grateful that the Toltec dreamers were so joyful, and they spoke of personal freedom, and that spoke to me because I had, suffered for so long. I had been trained to suffer. That was my program of suffering. And so when I realized that you really could go into stalk that origin, stalk where that came from, breathe into it, honor it, and release it, and that when that was released, there was like a pathway for that light and that joy and that purpose to flow, and it worked rapidly. I'm like, that's my way, you know? Yeah.
And people
So,
get stuck at the release part. They're just they grab on and they attach and they won't allow the release to happen.
yeah.
And when I was going through this process, that's why it's so clear to me, because I found myself getting stuck in that I wouldn't release. And so I started calling myself a stalkaholic.
I love it. That's
Right?
great.
Because at some point, the addiction to suffering, even when you're doing your healing work, sometimes that can become the addiction.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I was calling myself a stalkaholic and that I was in recovery. So and then I needed to start stalking joy and not go into the dark. So there is a point where you finally have enough of sitting in your own shit, where you have to turn around and look at the light and say, okay, fill me. I have literally cleaned myself to non-existent. But the other part is, yes, do your cleaning, but don't forget to fill. Don't forget to
Yes.
fill. You
Yes.
gotta fill.
Yes.
We get stuck
First.
down there and we clean out. And I can remember in my apprenticeship with the Ruizes, I remember saying to them, well, so now what? I'm cleaned out. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. I don't know what to call myself. I don't even know what day it is. So now what do I do that I've done all the work to that point?
Exactly. What do I want?
Now what?
I want
Now what do I do?
sets my soul on fire.
Right. And so
Yeah.
part of the process that I think moving forward, my medicine is going to be, yes, touch it, acknowledge it, do the work around it. There's no bypassing, but that also doesn't mean you chain yourself to it and stay there. It's like the trampoline bounce. You go down, you hit, and then you come back up. You don't stay down there.
Yeah. I mean, just as you're saying that, I'm realizing, because it's, we were trained. Our pain was our training from our family of systems, right? God bless them. They all did the best they could. But that was like the imprint, that was the record on replay in my life until for me, hit my bottom enough to go help. And then, we spin, we stalk, we clear, we let go, we release, and then we have to take that record, that needle on the record, and put it on a record of love and joy and what we want. And as much as we were training the other way, we have to train that too, right? Totally makes sense. Really.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love it. And being able to hold for you while you are birthing Shaman Heart and doing the pictures for the front cover of the album, and being able to hold and share space and
That
witness.
was crazy. That
I
was
know.
crazy. So for those of y'all who are watching, I am my passion has been, I'm Mexican American. And when my grandmother was dying, I was a songwriter, and she called me to her bedside, and I midwifed her between this world and the next. And it was my first time to really come in contact, that I was aware of the other side, as she, I really was with her as her spirit left her body, and I felt the jubilation of freedom as she exited to her new life. But before she died, she put a mission on my heart, and she told me that I was to celebrate our culture, in story and in song, and that I would travel all over the world. And I told her, I can't do that. I can't. I'm too fat. I'm too old. It's too late. I was 33. I can't even speak the language. I don't look Mexican. I wasn't raised in the culture. How can I share this? There's no way. And she just was like, you will, and when that happened, she was, so, embodied in spirit, that I felt it.
Yeah.
And so, in a way, I was so upset when she passed, because like, I can't do this. But it was also such an ultimate surrender. And so I began to write songs in the country world, because I was raised as a country songwriter artist, kept trying to bring my Latin culture to my songs. And in this long story short, I was ministering to myself, writing songs, my soul would give me these songs that I would download that would be like little cosmic breadcrumbs on the road to my recovery, that helped me make sense of what was going on inside of me, right? And give me a pathway for the road. And when I would be in very intimate circles, like I was in a few, healing circles as a participant, I would share a song here and there. And people would always say, "Where can I get that song?" And I'd be like, I don't have time for that. I'm going to be a country star. That's what my grandmother meant, right?" And so fast forward, um, when Angel and I are in Teotihuacan on this journey, we've met, we've had this powerful experience. She's given me my fan, and we're engaged in life. I'm in the kitchen in Teotihuacan of the Dreaming House. And these two redheaded women who were friends of mine came up to me and said, "Stephanie, when are you going to make this album of all these medicine songs that you sing in private with us?" And I'm like, "I don't have time. I don't have time. I do not have money." And Judy Redhawk said, she said this, "My Aunt Helen just died. She was a music teacher and she left me an inheritance. And if I give you $2,500 today, will you commit to singing these, to recording these songs?"
And we were
So
all like,
I-
yes, do the thing.
yes, okay, I will. So as fate would have it, Sue Schweitzer was there, who is a photographer. You were there with Kaya.
Yeah,
Y'all had all this Shamama, Shazamorama.
yeah.
I had bought a $3 dress in a Mexican town the week before.
And I think you wore Kaya's earrings and
Y'all
all
had me
set up.
all like, yeah.
All good, girl.
When we climbed up with that dress shoved in the back of my backpack to the top of the Pyramid of the Sun, and we were styling and everything, and Shaman Heart, it was literally 3 weeks later, or somewhere between 3 and 5 weeks later, the first three songs, the EP of that song was delivered, 100 copies on the Red Road to the next gathering of shamans, where I presented that like a few months later. So
How awesome.
Yeah.
it's crazy, isn't
I
it?
know, right?
You can't make that shit up.
And meant to be. And now we're here.
Yeah. So thank you for being a witness to that, to
Thank
that.
you for inviting me.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and thank you, because you knew, I mean, I really was so reluctant. I was like, I was afraid to share this part of me.
yeah,
And don't forget to thank yourself for showing up for yourself.
yeah.
Aw,
That's huge. A lot of people skip that part.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank
That
you.
be brave part, right?
Gratitude to self. We can
Thank
only
you.
receive what we're ready and willing to receive. And we have to
See, who's teaching in this moment? Do y'all see that? So good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And we have exciting things moving forward. Seth is going to be joining you in Teo soon.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be amazing.
We're so excited about this new book. I was the lead author of, and I know y'all are working with Laura DeFranco of Brave Healer Productions.
Shout out to Laura.
Yes.
Yes, this portal of becoming an author and owning your words and working through, because it's a healing journey every time. And I was the lead author on my first author's journey with 25 authors last year, Shaman Heart, turning pain into passion and purpose, and what happened to the authors, to each of us, when we came together with that purpose to lay our hearts on the altar and then to write about it, was so profound. And it just, I'm still so tight with all of those authors. And so now this next book, I'm going to co-lead this with Jeremy, because Jeremy Pager, he was my teacher. He's my husband. He's the co-founder of Freedom Folk and Soul with me. And we really met in our Sacred Rebels. We really did. We can inhabit that part of ourselves pretty easy. And for us, that's like our when I think about my sacred rebel, it's like my teenage self that was trying to find my freedom. I had all this potent energy and I didn't know where to put it. I didn't know how to be who I was born to be. And so I got to have this beautiful long journey to come back to rescue and to bring myself into my wholeness and into my inner authority and, powerhouse shamama with love. And so I am so excited to um, to be a part of this cast of authors, including and especially you, Seth. I heard you. I
So
felt you. I felt you when you shared on our Zoom today. I was like, well, hello. It's
I
going to be
actually
amazing.
called Angel about that. I was like, I didn't realize when I had that experience that we were talking about. I didn't realize how much of that had how much that had moved me until I started sharing it in that moment. I'm like, ooh, where's all this energy coming from? All of a sudden, it was like, all right, super stoked to go back. So
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I just want to say that reminds me, we were talking to Jorge Luis Delgado about Peru, which I know you've traveled with him, and we are going on a journey to Egypt together.
Yay!
yeah,
So excited.
Yay!
Yes.
And Jorge says to us, he's like, when we're dreaming into it and talking about it, he's like, enough of the healing. We will become the pyramids.
Yay!
And that's what you did when you were sharing about the thing that you were sharing about the pyramid of the sun. I felt you carrying the energy of the sun when you were speaking into it. So thank you.
Mm. So juicy and so great.
Yeah.
Well, I have loved our catch up.
I know we could talk for hours.
I know we could be here for hours and hours and hours. Maybe you can send us off with another one of your songs.
Oh, I'd be honored. So I'm not 26, but when I was 26 and I was crazy, longing for help, needing help, the great mystery sent down this song to help me, give me a cosmic breadcrumb of the road up ahead. This is called Chiseling Out My Soul. I once knew a wise old man, Maximilian was his name. He was an artist of life, a sculptor by trade. I used to go and visit him maybe once or twice a week. I drank in every moment. I was thirsty for his kind of peace. He said, let love be your discipline, girl, carve out your experience. Be authentic and be real. That's how my peace was revealed, by chiseling out my soul like a Michelangelo. He found spirit in the stone. I'm chiseling out my soul like a precious piece of treasured art. I'm not for sale. I've worked too hard to find out who I am. And at my age, I don't give a damn. I'm chiseling out my soul like a Michelangelo. He found spirit in the stone. I'm chiseling out my soul. Well, my friend Max died a few years back, but I think about him every day. You see, his words of wisdom, they guide my heart when I got a tough choice to make. He said, everyone's got an artist's eye, painting pictures with their lives. Everything you say and do is a framed canvas of your own truth. So I'm chiseling out my soul like a Michelangelo. He found spirit in the stone. I'm chiseling out my soul. a chiseling out my soul like a Michelangelo. He found spirit in the stone. I'm chiseling out my soul one more time. I'm chiseling out my soul like a Michelangelo. He found spirit in the stone. I'm chiseling, chiseling, chiseling out my soul.
So much fun.
I love you, Angel. Seth, I love you. I'm so excited to journey with you and Teo.
It's gonna be so great.
Thank you for your sacred work in the world and your sacred joy.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, and leave a ratings and review. Hey, did you know that both Angel and Seth have books coming out in 2023? Stay tuned and follow us on all social media platforms at Bytes of Light, BYTESOFLIGHT. Thanks again, and we look forward to sharing space with you again soon.